Bitcoin solved one of the hardest problems in digital money. Digital information can normally be copied. You can copy a photo, a document, or an email and send the same file to many people. But money cannot work that way. If you have one digital dollar, you should not be able to copy it and spend that same dollar again and again. Before Bitcoin, preventing this usually required a bank, payment company, or government to maintain the official record. That central authority decided who owned what. It checked whether the money was real, whether it had already been spent, and whether the payment should be approved. Bitcoin replaced that central record with a public blockchain. Instead of one bank keeping the ledger, thousands of computers could check the same transaction history. They could verify that the sender controlled the coins, that the coins had not already been spent, and that the payment followed the network's rules. Bitcoin gave us digital ownership without requiring one bank or company to control the entire system. That was the breakthrough. But the solution created another problem. Bitcoin could work without a central gatekeeper because its ledger was open for the network to inspect. Every transaction was recorded publicly. Your legal name did not have to appear. Instead, the blockchain showed wallet addresses. For that reason, Bitcoin was sometimes described as anonymous money. But a wallet address is not invisible. It is closer to a permanent username. The address can reveal how much Bitcoin it holds, where the coins came from, where they went, and when each payment happened. If that address becomes connected to your real identity through an exchange, a business, a donation, or a public post, the rest of your financial activity can become easier to follow. Bitcoin removed the financial gatekeeper, but it left the financial window open. Imagine receiving your salary through a public wallet. Someone who identifies that wallet may be able to estimate how much you earn, how much you save, and where some of your money goes. Most people would never publish their bank statements for the world to inspect. But a public blockchain can create a permanent financial history by default. It can also affect whether all coins are treated equally, because every coin carries a visible history. So Bitcoin solved the first major problem of digital money. It allowed people to own and transfer value without depending on one central institution. But it did not solve the next problem. Can digital money work without exposing our financial lives? That is the question behind Zcash. Can we keep Bitcoin's independent verification while restoring the privacy people expect from cash? Can a network prove that a payment is real without revealing who sent it, who received it, or how much moved? At first, that sounds impossible. If the network cannot see the transaction, how can it know the sender owns the money, has not already spent it, and is not creating fake coins? The idea that became Zcash grew from a research project called Zerocash. In 2014, researchers described a digital currency that could hide a payment's origin, destination, and amount while still proving that the transaction followed the rules. Zcash launched in 2016. At the center of its private system was a tool called a zero-knowledge proof. The name sounds complicated. The main idea is not. Imagine a locked machine with a green light on top. You place a private transaction inside. The machine checks the information the public cannot see. Do you control the money? Does it really exist? Has it already been spent? Does the payment follow the rules? If everything is correct, the green light turns on. The network learns that the transaction is valid, but it does not see the sender, receiver, or amount inside the machine. Bitcoin proves a payment by showing the transaction. Zcash tries to prove the payment without showing its private details. The payment is still verified, but the person's financial information does not have to be published for everyone to inspect. A Zcash user can also choose to share viewing information with an accountant, an auditor, or another trusted person. Privacy does not have to mean zero accountability. It can mean that people control who receives access to their financial lives. But building this system was not simple. The original Zcash design created secret fragments before the network launched. If all those fragments had been saved and combined, someone might have been able to create counterfeit Zcash. So 6 people took part in what became known as the ceremony. The system remained safe as long as at least one of them truly destroyed their secret piece. It was a strange compromise. Zcash was trying to remove trust from money, while its earliest private system still depended on one final act of trust. Later upgrades reduced that dependence and made private payments easier. But stronger technology did not automatically create stronger privacy for everyone. Zcash still allows both public and private transactions. Some wallets and exchanges support private transfers well. Others make users move through visible addresses. So even when the payment itself is hidden, the activity before or after it may still reveal clues. The real problem is whether privacy is simple enough for ordinary people to use. If it requires extra steps or unfamiliar software, most people will choose convenience. Privacy cannot remain a setting only experts understand. It has to become the normal and easy option. Then Zcash faced a more serious test. The same privacy that protects users also makes the system harder to inspect. On Bitcoin, amounts are visible. That is bad for privacy, but it makes the total supply easier to check. Zcash hides private transaction amounts. That protects people's financial information, but the system must still stop anyone from secretly creating money that should not exist. In May 2026, a security researcher found a serious flaw in one of Zcash's private payment systems. During testing, the flaw could make counterfeit value appear valid. The researcher reported the problem privately, and the network was quickly updated. The teams involved found no evidence that anyone had used the flaw earlier. But because private transactions hide their amounts, nobody could inspect every hidden transaction and prove this with complete certainty. This did not mean private money had failed. It showed why private money is difficult to build. The system must protect financial information while proving that nobody is secretly creating fake coins. Zcash responded by moving activity into a corrected private system. The technical details were complicated, but the purpose was simple. Private information could remain hidden while the network checked that no extra Zcash quietly appeared. The main idea is this. Zcash is trying to prove that a private payment follows the rules even when the public cannot see the payment details. That does not make the system perfect. Wallets can fail. People can lose access to their money. Exchanges can refuse private transfers. Governments can make private money harder to use. Technology can make private digital money possible, but only simple wallets, exchange support, reasonable regulation, and ordinary users can make it normal. Because people rarely lose privacy in one dramatic moment. They lose it slowly. A wallet chooses a public setting by default. A company collects more information. Each step may seem small, but eventually every payment creates a permanent record, and privacy begins to look unusual. Cash gave us privacy because paper does not create a permanent global record. Bitcoin gave us independent verification because its public blockchain remembers. Zcash is trying to separate those two functions. It wants the network to remember that the rules were followed while forgetting the private details of the people following them. Zcash does not prove that all future money will be private, but it proves that private digital money is possible. The future of money will probably be digital, fast, and connected to systems around the world. But none of those features decides whether it will respect our privacy. That decision will be made by the people building the systems, the companies choosing the defaults, the governments writing the rules, and the ordinary people deciding what they are willing to accept. So the question is no longer whether private digital money can exist. It can. The real question is this: will technology make privacy a basic part of digital money for everyone, or make private spending seem suspicious?